I'm Brian, and this is Game Story Basics. Let's keep talking about anchor characters. Previously, I'd said that when an anchor character represents a way back to normality, players or viewers start disliking that anchor character, even though that's a necessary and important role in the story. So why is that? Well, the anchor character has become a threat to our enjoyment of the story. We're watching a protagonist self-destruct, and it's a compelling experience. But if the anchor character draws them back to the normal world, the story ends. Now, this is obviously an irrational fear. The storyteller is not going to just randomly end the story that way, but our reactions as players and viewers are rarely logical. So my theory that this is not just misogyny, although it is that too, is something that we can test with, let's say, a comparison, or we could even call it a control group if we were feeling scientific. And for that, I would present Nico Polastri. It's from the show Killing Eve, which is the story of a law enforcement officer who becomes obsessed with a female psychopathic assassin and ends up sort of sacrificing her job, her marriage, her life, basically everything, to go down the rabbit hole of this weird obsession that she develops with this assassin and with everything that assassin represents. So it is one of these self-destructive stories. And in that story, we have the anchor character, her husband, Nico Polastri. Nico is not as universally hated as Skylar. That's where the misogyny comes in. But he is not a liked character. And I have to tell you, watching Breaking Bad, when Skylar would come on, I would have like a kind of feeling. And when I watched Killing Eve, when Nico would come on, I had the same exact feeling, right? Like, oh, this guy, you know? Another really interesting example of anchor characters is from the old Netflix show Daredevil, where Matt Murdock is a lawyer by day and a superhero by night, and he has two anchor characters that he has to deal with. Foggy, his law firm partner, and Karen Page, who's the office manager. At the beginning of the show, they both serve that function where he has to lie and sort of cover up the fact that he's doing stuff at night and explain why he's all beat up and bruised from these two characters to protect them from finding out the truth. But then, during the season, Foggy discovers his true identity, and now the two anchor characters kind of have a split. So Karen continues to be that character that Matt has to protect, from the truth and lie to and protect his identity. Whereas Foggy moves into the role that we saw for Nico and Skylar, where he kind of represents the way back. Because after he discovers the truth, every scene with Matt and Foggy is Foggy saying, you don't have to do this, you don't have to go out at night and get beat up, you can use the law to make the world a better place. And that actually gives Matt the chance to continually tell Foggy, no, I have to do this. In fact, I will give up everything else to keep doing this. And that's a really interesting function, because superheroes, to some degree, it does feel like something they're choosing to do, right? Bruce Wayne could just hang out in his mansion and be rich. He doesn't need to go out every night and do this crazy stuff. Introducing that new element to the anchor character of Foggy gives Matt Murdock the chance to actually explain that he is compelled to do this. Anchor characters are necessary, particularly in a story about a self-destructive character, and they provide a good source of tension even in other types of stories, but they're generally not going to be liked. And that's okay. Their job isn't necessarily to be liked, but we have to be aware of this danger and try to figure out how to make those scenes compelling and interesting without sort of turning off our players. So that's it for anchor characters. This is not so much a 5 easy steps to make your anchor characters work. It's more like, this is something to think about, to be aware of, and to sort of turn an analytical eye towards the roles and functions of some various characters in your story. That's all for now. I'll see you on the next one.